Hi, everyone. I am so delighted to be back, obviously virtually this time around and not in Wyoming itself. Very sad about that, but I am delighted and thankful to the entire Stampede team for putting together an amazing set of agendas and also for collaborating with us. I'm here today to give you a recap of what happened to our event last week during UN General Assembly Week. We had a 2-day event focused on SDGs as well and blockchain. And we thought it'd be a great opportunity for me to just give you the highlights over the next 15, 20 minutes and to really show that the SDGs and blockchain technology across sectors go hand in hand. So again, this is a quick recap from last week's event in virtual, of course. For those who aren't familiar with the GBBC, the Global Blockchain Business Council, we're a Swiss-based nonprofit. We're squarely focused on the education, partnership, and advocacy for the industry, whether it's crypto or blockchain or digital assets. We really look at the global macro environment, and we look to really help support not only startups and enterprises who are trying to get their heads around the best applications for blockchain, but also governments and NGOs and academics. We believe in a multi-stakeholder approach. And so we've spent our time really focusing on bringing lots of different people together, which hopefully you will see in the next few slides. And I want to thank also the University of Wyoming because they've also partnered with us on this event, and where Stephen Lupian was also a speaker. He was obviously the head of the Blockchain Center of Excellence, so we really appreciate the collaboration. And here are some major themes that came out of our event. So we started with really a very diverse group of keynotes who were peppered across the 2 days. And we spent a lot of time really on a common message, which is the sustainable development goals matter now more than ever in the middle of a pandemic where so many different problems and just broken systems and models of ways of doing things have really come to light. It was very clear whether you are, a world-renowned singer, rapper, or you are the head of a very large enterprise, or you are the chief digital officer of the UN, or you're a regulator. It's important to take some time to really focus on how the SDGs can be interwoven into what we do. And so these keynotes were really great in really bringing together not only diverse views and from different sectors, but also really culminating into a common message of collaboration and helping each other. So I want to just focus on the major themes. And again, this is the top line highlights. There was a lot more than this, but I just want to focus on a couple messages. One is seize the opportunities. In a world where there's so much chaos going on, people are actually seeing unprecedented opportunities for new systems, new ways of doing things. Governments are listening now more than ever on different ways to approach problems. You've seen some of the big issues that have occurred with the pandemic. Some countries have handled it well, others not so. And again, it's been a patchwork, whether you're talking about healthcare or supply chain across the board. And we had a really interesting conversation with the Commissioner of E-Governance in the government of Tamil Nadu in India, who actually just came out with some major papers, and I've listed the links here, one on blockchain and one on AI. And they are very focused on creating common infrastructure that can formalize the informal economies. And they're laser focused on making that happen in their government. Another major thematic that came out that I thought was interesting, which I didn't expect, believe it or not, is carbon credits and climate change. We all know that it's important that we figure out a way to reduce carbon emissions, but there have been many failed attempts in the last few decades around how to make it work, not only as a business model, but also as something that requires lots of different stakeholders to be involved: government, enterprise, the energy sector, the tech sector, the trading sector. There's lots of different groups that actually need to work together. And what we're finding now, I was really heartened by this because it kept coming up again and again, is that we may actually have real possibilities to use carbon credit in a way that will be successful this time around. And blockchain is the piece where verification is needed, and that's where blockchain can step in to help with the verifying that something is truly registered as it's registered or verified as it is true. Another one is upcycling, recycling, circular, should actually say circular economy models. That became a major thematic about global supply chains, you can imagine. And then there was an interesting topic around the difference between open finance and DeFi, decentralized finance, and actually what a lot of proponents are asking for during our sessions, which is democratized finance. How do we get people access in a way that reduces inequalities? And I think that's going to be for much further debate. Future of education surprised me as well, not because I don't think education is important, I absolutely do, but I think the watershed moment and how much leapfrogging is going on around the world because of the pandemic, universities to elementary schools all around the world are just rethinking the way they deliver education. And I think not only is it digital, but people are actually rethinking what is the value of a university education? What is the value of certain things? And I think a lot of things are being questioned that maybe in the backdrop, there were some groups that were, in the minority questioning, but I think we're actually going to come to a place where the education system, and particularly the higher education system, is really under question and scrutiny, and also potentially room for mass innovation. So I think it's pretty exciting. And then I'm going to stop here and go to the next slide. I'm going to focus on a couple of real life use cases that were actually demonstrated by the World Food Program in conjunction with Producers Direct, and then also Procter & Gamble, another major enterprise who's working on water. So hopefully this will give you a flavor for some of the real world applications that were discussed. So we had the head of UN World Food Program's Innovation Accelerator with Claire Rhodes, who's the CEO of Producers Direct, which is a nonprofit UK group that's been around for over a decade, focusing on small shareholder farmers. Long story short, they attended our GBBC's hackathon last year during UNGA week. And we actually, the Producers Direct was the winner of the World Food Program Challenge. And long story short, what's being created in a cooperative in Peru is a digital version of a cooperative. So basically at the lowest level, automating some of the processes that are paper-based or electronic but kind of clunky, turning that into a much more streamlined digital experience for the farmers, providing them information. But more importantly, a step beyond that is really figuring out ways that we use this platform to then help farmers do more. And that includes getting more money and being paid more equitably. One of the biggest issues that most people don't realize is most small shareholder farmers are women. And in Peru in particular, you can only register your farm through one name, and it's often the husband's name in a family. So therefore, if something happens to the husband, the wife is almost left out in the cold, and often the wife is actually the one doing farming. And so in many ways, this is tackling two SDGs, not only around reducing hunger and helping farmers, but also leveling gender inequalities. This was an interesting use case in the sense that I think there was targeted one, but actually two have come out to really be able to level set some of these issues. So if you're interested, please check out this particular workshop that was presented. All the recordings are available early next week on our website, and also look out for social media if you're interested. The next one was on 50-liter water by Procter & Gamble. This is a major initiative for them, focusing on SDG number 6. And the key point here is that our water usage, especially in urban cities, is pretty bad. And he gave some really interesting statistics around most of the water consumption issues has to do with our consumption of hot water. It's like the vast majority of the problem. And the heated water creates all kinds of just, not only just inefficiencies and possible water shortages, but it causes all sorts of other drains and strains on cities. And so they're launching an initiative where we go from using something like 500 liters of water, and over time, encouraging people to get down to 50. And why P&G doing this? Well, if you didn't know, pretty much you probably have a P&G product sitting in a place where there's water in your house, whether that's the bathroom, or the kitchen or the laundry room, you probably have a P&G product there. So that is their focus, really to help consumers and partners that they work with. They have a large consortia working with them to help deliver 50-liter water project into 2021. I believe the first cities that they will be looking at are Los Angeles. You'll have to double check to confirm Mexico City, and there's a few others around the world where they will be collaborating. So it's another very exciting project where there's a blockchain component as well. And another topic that came up was around standards. And this is something I want to just give you a preview, because on October 14th, during the Stampede's DevCon stream, I'm actually going to come back with some of these partners on October 14th, which is the launch of our initiative, to explain what it is in full. But long story short, it is the most globally comprehensive mapping of all standards across technical, industry consortia, legal, and regulatory landscape to date. That is literally not us writing the standards. We've literally collected what have governments done, what have supranationals produced, what guidelines, what regulators have produced, and we've brought that together under one house. And we've written 2 reports that give you the highlights, but then there's also a landing page for interactive map. And we're completely open source, open access to this. Anyone and everyone has access to this information. And what we're trying to do is to encourage those who need to understand where are we from a standards perspective, to see where the gaps are, to run with it, and then finally to partner and build so that we can actually close the gap for next steps. If we really want this industry to grow, we're hearing more and more from lots of different stakeholders that we need to have more common standards. And that's as basic as taxonomy all the way through to potentially global regulatory frameworks and beyond. So we've started it. It's version 1.0. October 14th, we'll be back. So look out for that. And we're very excited by the global partnership. And then, by the way, this is only the handful of partners that we've got. There's many, many more. If you're interested, we hope you will join us as well. And I'm going to leave on a final note. I think there is lots of room for positivity in a time when there's a lot of chaos and confusion, and frankly, could be a lot of there are a lot of horrible things also happening. The digital economy continues to grow. I've been very and this is only one metric, of course. LinkedIn is not the stand all be all, but I will have to say I was worried before COVID that we might see a plummeting of job opportunities around the world. And what I usually do is just check the LinkedIn blockchain worldwide search. Back in November 3rd of 2019, we had about 15,000 global jobs. And all I've done is blockchain. I haven't even done crypto or digital assets, right? And I just checked again this afternoon, and we're back at 12,400. And it's been ticking up because I've actually seen it during the pandemic as low as 10,000 job openings. And so to me, this is just an indicator, and based on also anecdotal, conversations that I've had, there's just a lot of different opportunity sets in this field. And frankly, everyone just needs to pick their spot and work on it, whatever they're passionate about. But I'm very bullish on what we're hearing, what we're seeing globally. Obviously, not everyone is in the same place, but I think as a global community, now is the time for us to come together and step up the activity as opposed to step back. And I think, that's shared by a lot of other groups that we interact with as well. So just wanted to point to one metric here. And finally, I just want to thank you all for your time and attention. And we stand by community together. Insofar as we could ever help, we would love to. And so just reach out to us and let us know. We're here to provide free information, free education, and to really help those who need a place to start, and also for those who actually have a product and need help figuring out how they could best highlight their work. And we work across the globe. At the moment, we have over 200 institutions across over 50 countries. And in the coming January of 2021, we'll be announcing that we're in many more countries beyond that. So we continue to grow across geographies and industry sectors. So thank you very much. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to our host.